Boston Celtics are playing for bigger things, and those bigger things begin on Tuesday. We know this now, right?
Yes.
We know this. The Celtics will play the Wizards in the play-in game that was established today. Celtics played, I guess, people wearing Celtics uniforms played a basketball game today. It really wasn't representative of what you're going to see going forward. No Tatum, no Fournier, no Smart, no Kemba, no Tristan. Obviously, no Jaylen, but that's not going to happen. No Rob. So that's where we are, and that's where we shall remain. We'll get some takeaways from the game. Jimmy, why don't you lead us through?
Yeah, this was one of those games where you just knew that they were going to come up short in the end, as they have for most. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I missed this entire game, so
guys, nobody really watched this game.
No help on the breakdown of this game.
I kept a close eye on it, but I was watching the Hornets. I was in a different place too for most of this game.
Okay, if there's one thing we learned today, if you played a lot of minutes today, that doesn't bode well for what you're going to be doing in the playoffs. Okay?
This is like preseason game 4 of the NFL season, right?
If you played a lot today, that means you're not going to play a lot going forward.
Yeah.
And they were led in minutes by Romeo Langford. So it is what it is. I actually was, the fact that Nesmith played not few, but relatively few minutes. You couldn't play 0 because they didn't have enough bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing Nesmith and Pritchard kind of on the lower end of the scale definitely tells you they're in the circle of trust and will be playing some playoff minutes.
They're gonna practice tomorrow too, which I'm glad to see.
Yeah. So
they need it. That's for sure.
Coffee.
Definitely need that.
And that's where we're at, guys. We got the Wizards. We can talk about this game, spirited, whatever, good job for the kids. Kudos. If some stuff comes up, we'll always circle back. But the big story, of course, is this. Wizards rally, beat the Hornets, and that's who the Celtics play. They push their way into the 8th seed. Charlotte bumps all the way down to the 10, right? And they're playing at Indiana for the 9 seed. Is that right?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So Charlotte could have had a friggin' easy pass where just you beat this dead-ass Celtics team, and then you're in the playoffs as a 7 seed. Now they got Now they got to win on the road twice, so they missed an opportunity. Wizards come in here little banged up. We've got some Bradley Beal situations to monitor here as well, as he kind of came back from injury, but apparently the Twitter sphere said he didn't look good. But guys, opening thoughts here on the Wizards matchup. Was this, I guess, of all the possible draws, is this the one you wanted, or is this the one you feared?
This is the worst one. This is the worst that could have happened. When it rains, it pours. Like we were saying this week after week with the Celtics team, and what a way to end the season, of course. I'm not talking about the loss. I'm talking about this matchup overall. This doesn't, for Bradley Beal, for superstars going at it, we're going to get one heck of a game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a matchup where the Celtics are completely overmatched to the fact that they're down by 20 with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Celtics going to fight. I think they have that much in them. Jayson Tatum has shown that much. And, of course, this is the big stage. This is the time when he's supposed to perform at a high level. But, between him and Kemba, I'm expecting a humongous game from both of those guys. And I'm almost going to go out on a limb and say if that doesn't happen, this team doesn't win. There's no way this team knocks off Russell Westbrook, the way he's been playing lately, Bradley Beal, banged up or not, these guys are inspired, and especially Russell Westbrook. This is sort of his time where he likes to prove everybody wrong who's had a false narrative about him, throughout the course of the regular season. So yeah, the Celtics are in trouble. This is not good. This is the worst.
They're not in trouble. They're not in trouble at all. And if you guys were here, and I read it yesterday, Vegas considers them to miss the playoffs plus 400. They think it's a long shot that this team loses.
First of all, that's not that long considering they have to lose twice. And second, it's not a bad bet.
It's a great bet. I think I said that.
I still want to hear from you guys. I've been asking you, is anybody here going to say it? Is any of you here going to pick them to lose?
Well, it's not picking them to lose, but
I think that's an interesting
Jimmy, you go. I've had my say. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I think that's an interesting way to start your take, but go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, right. So
talking about Vegas.
I think right. I think the Wizards is the problem with the Wizards is they can outscore you. So if the Celtics want to get into a scoring battle with them, I think they will lose that. If they don't play defense and show up and make it difficult for the two-headed beast there, Beal and Westbrook, I do think the Celtics losing this game. We've seen them lose to this team before, so they certainly know how to. And this was before the Wizards even got hot and went on that stretch. Now, they're not as hot as they were when they were ripping off wins back in April. They're not at that level of hotness. But I always get worried when the playoffs start. If you're not trending in the right direction, typically you're not long for the playoffs, and that's in any sport. The hot teams go further. We saw it last year with Miami. We've seen it in the past with. I mean, you can even go look at football and like the Patriots, run into a hot Giants team when they lose twice. It doesn't mean the Giants were better than the Patriots, but they were playing better at the time, and that's what it comes down to in the playoffs. The team that's clicking on all cylinders, that's playing team basketball, that's doing what it takes to win, and that's what these Wizards are doing. The Wizards and the Celtics are completely. They might be one seed away from each other, but they're completely different ends of the spectrum in terms of what their mindset is going into this game. The Wizards are ecstatic to be there. They're riding momentum. They're riding all the positive vibes, and the Celtics are limping in. Guys are hurt. They've missed expectations, and they're almost lucky to be where they are. All things considered. So when Bobby tells me, "Oh, Vegas is this, Vegas is that," plus 400. I mean, honestly, I think that's a good bet because if you're Wizards versus
good
Celtics,
odds, but it's not going to happen.
If you're Wizards versus Celtics, that's closer to a toss-up than I think people think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Celtics are going to be favored in that game, but I don't know what the line is. But if I had to guess, 4.5, something like that, not a big spread. And then all of a sudden you bet.
I'm going to call this one 2.5. I am curious what it is, but I mean, it's just based on how the two teams are playing. Wizards are 15-5 over their last 20. Celtics are 10-10. It's one team has basically been playing 500 ball for literally 60 games, and the other team absolutely shot out of a cannon after they were left for dead and playing much, much better basketball.
Yeah, but John, this kind of matchup though, it's of course, to a certain extent, especially in this situation, it has to do with the momentum for the team. But we're talking about individuals though. This isn't a series, right? They just have to win one. So I mean, the Celtics, they're not doomed, but I just
no. But there's two problems.
They have to win one, but is that a good thing? I'd like them better in a series. I think
I would too. That's the thing. The puncher's chances.
They have to win one. They have to win 1 out of 2, and they're almost better off.
Any team can win one game.
Yeah. There's multiple issues. First of all, one, you wonder whether you've got like a team that doesn't give a crap whether they win or don't win because they recognize they're not getting much further than that. When the expectations are high and you're like, oh God, I got to win this play-in game just to get wiped out by friggin' Philly or Brooklyn or whatever. That's a kind of that works against the Celtics, where Washington would be like, look what we did. Bigger deal for those teams. Bigger deal for definitely them, definitely Charlotte, who were like, nobody thought we were making the playoffs and we're in the tournament. So those teams have a lot to play in, and that's who they could be facing 1-2. Number 2, yes, the Celtics rested players. We have no idea if Robert Williams plays, what Marcus Smart looks like, assuming he does play coming back. So there's a couple of wild cards there as well. In addition to being out Jaylen, you don't know how healthy Marcus is. You don't know if Rob's playing at all. If you enter this game with a hobbled Marcus and no Rob, are you telling me the Celtics are the team you would pick? I would absolutely not. I mean, that's
Beal's hurt too. That's way more important.
The Beal thing could be a factor, and we'll see what he is. But at the end of the day, people are tweeting about him not playing great or not looking great. He still played 35 minutes today. So
he had a strong closing stretch. The first half, he was a disaster. He finished 8 of 27, made it through 35 minutes, like you said. So he's healthy enough to be out there, but he didn't move well, and he had a hard time getting a shot under him for large stretches of this game. And for a team as thin as they are when it comes to like real deal scorers, Ish Smith went off. That was really what drove them over the finish line. That's a guy who has killed the Celtics in the past too. So I get what Josue is saying. Like, this is a scary team that's really challenged the Celtics at times this year, destroyed them in DC, gave them that good run in that Beal-Tatum duel. That was one of my favorite games this year. And they're going to be incredibly challenging to defend. They're one of the best offenses in basketball. And Westbrook, just the intensity he plays in that kind of environment. I get why people are worried about this game in particular. But even if you lose, you still get that second shot against Indiana, Charlotte, and then you're on the Philly, which is actually probably what you would prefer out of the two opponents that you could possibly see here between Brooklyn and Philly.